It's the Taxpayers Hotline Show with your hosts, Kaz Kwiatkowski and John Steiner.
Whoa, we got volume.
Right?
Boy, do we have volume.
What? You're killing. Oh, Jesus.
I like that.
Concludes the show today.
Well, we had no volume last week, but
Whoa. Boy, people in the treasurer's office looking over here like, what is going on?
look at these guys. Hey, don't run.
Funny, yeah, real.
Don't run.
Yeah, funny. Testing. Jesus.
You know what? Last time I was at was at the front row of a Led Zeppelin concert.
Wow.
How about you?
Wow, I thought the Who concert was going on. What is going on, Cass?
And they're leaving City Hall. But,
People are running out the door.
Lisa, so John, how are you doing? Well,
I'm cold, Cass.
You got your Tim Horton, boy. You are cold.
Cass, froze. That win is ridiculous. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, you guys don't have any anchors out, do you?
Yeah.
I couldn't get through to you guys for 12 days.
Why? What's the matter?
They cut the cable up here, the phone cable.
Well, it was bad up there?
They didn't tell anybody. Yeah.
And they didn't do anything about it, huh?
Well, it took 12 days before they figured it out.
Boy, last night I lost part of my siding.
Did you?
Yeah, not too bad a piece, but...
No place like home.
Well, you know, I told them they wanted me to go check things out. I said, listen, I pay for a service for inside and outside. So why don't you guys come and take care of it? And then, did you ever try to get a hold of Verizon or anybody?
Yeah, but, you know, getting with them is... We need some push down there. We need a
local representative.
Yeah,
You know, the sad thing about it, my computers are working, and that's on Verizon.
Oh, you got Verizon. You don't have
No, I don't have Spectrum or...
Well, I was trying to get a hold of Spectrum. That's who I was trying to get a hold of.
Oh, good luck.
Yeah, Verizon, I don't...
No, we have computer service. They're our IP. And I'll tell you what, I asked the one service guys, when are you guys going to get TV? I'd like to get a hold of Verizon. You know, they're running the lines. They're starting to work on them.
Yeah, they got to put in, from what I understand, the philo lines.
Yeah.
And they don't view Erie as a major part of their operation.
Well, I don't know.
Well, I mean, if they look at marketing and Erie doesn't fit into their.
We're not marketable at this point.
Well, we only have 200 when you look at the numbers.
Yeah.
You got Velocity Net. They came in.
Yeah.
And they're off the air today.
But like for Verizon, I knew somebody in Verizon once that told me, they said, you know, they're looking out east more or into the bigger metro areas, but you know, they'll eventually come here when they feel it's, what did they say the other night? They had a story on TV about like cable TV in general and how some of the counties south of 90 doesn't even have high-speed internet.
They would have internet.
You know, broadband or anything. And that's because they view Erie County as rural.
Well, what's the city?
I think we're rural too.
We're rural too. Why do we have to have emission control?
Well, we have broadband, at least in the city. But
yeah, you got a lot of bands down there. Hey, I've got a couple quick questions.
yeah,
The one question is, I see they're taking the oaks down up in that one area that the city owns.
you mean in Glenwood?
Down by Glenwood?
Yeah, I think there's some. I've been trying to find out what's going on.
They said there was a disease and whatever. Now, I think Spartansburg is doing it.
There's some Amish people up there.
They have a mill down there in Spartansburg.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get together with our people in Public Works and see if they can give us a report on. I was told we get some of the profits. I don't know how much though.
They should be paying the city for that wood.
I think what we did was.
Just like you did before, you paid to have them take it away and they get all the profits?
Well, the school district years ago did the same thing when they did behind.
Joanne O'Connell.
Yeah, they didn't have the money to, have them do it. So what they did was they had somebody come in, and somebody comes in and they agree to do it, and they give you a little bit of money back, but not much,
Yeah. Well, I won't say what I was going to say.
Well, no, I agree with you, John. It's, it's one of those things that, we don't put enough, right now, last night I'm willing to bet, we had a lot of trees go down,
Yep.
and we don't have the money to take care of them. I mean, that's a fact. I know that because I seen the
Well,
budget.
you're finding $21,000 to send Goofball to Zebo.
Well, yeah, that comes out of his travel.
What's Lichtenwalder doing for it? Should come out of his Travel Express, out of his own account.
What bugs me is that I think, I'm gonna check into it, something,
Does he bring in
who's that?
receipts, the mayor?
Does he bring in what?
Receipts, his expense sheet.
Oh, yeah, he has, when you go on, John, I went to, as a disclaimer, I went to Poland and Germany.
Yeah. Didn't you go to Zebo?
No, I went to Poland and Germany on the great, airport, thing where we were trying to get that,
It turned out so well.
Out by Fenestra, yeah, that
Yeah.
section.
Well, what happened was, John, to put in perspective, we did not have the long runway at the time, and we didn't know when we were gonna get it. The Germans had the long runway, it was a Russian MiG base, but they had no infrastructure. So between the two of us, they were in a hurry, and we couldn't,
Well, next time we go out of town, make sure they have their act together first.
but we did do this, I can tell you this,
You can't
John.
go out of town, not have the,
What?
just a fact-finding mission. of-
Idea, right?
Well, no, they had been working on this for a number of years,
Well,
and,
they don't have any infrastructure. That was the last one. Does this place have infrastructure? What are we going there?
well,
What is the
hey,
purpose
you
of
have to understand, East Germany and Poland were coming out of the,
it? All right, let's forget about that. 'Cause we
well,
already
he's
know
asked
that.
me about this, okay?
Yeah, but what are they going there for? What are we doing this for?
We did, I don't know, you have to ask the mayor.
So what it is, it's just a vacation
Yeah.
on the city taxpayers.
But you do have to have receipts, John, yes, you do.
Well, the controller has to, doesn't she?
Yeah, but pretty much, I'll tell you, here's how it works, John. If we okay his travel budget, and that includes, trips to the League of Cities, the National League of Cities, okay? If, within that, I think, I'm trying to remember how much is in his budget, I don't have it right at my fingertips. But he can spend legally up to that amount if it's justifiable under the terms of when it was put in the budget, so travel is okay, doesn't matter where he goes, he has to justify it.
See,
But
what-
to spend any more or travel, or to transfer out of there, he has to come before council.
Here's what's happening, John. Our economic development people have been discussing behind the scenes. We've put together a package for economic development to move a Chinese-based tech company, couple of them, into Erie, and all the behind-the-scenes work is done, and the mayor is just going to China to just finalize the deal and welcome to Erie. Of course, I'm being sarcastic, but that's what they should be going to China for if they're going to China. But I highly doubt that that's what they're going to China for.
But, the sad part about it, they said he was going there on a training mission. What is this training mission?
You know what, council's in the dark, because until just recently, we found out the same way everybody else did. What bugs me even more is I think, and I'm gonna check back, I believe we paid for his passport, and that bothers me, because that should be a personal item. When I traveled to Poland, I bought my own.
What is on the itinerary? What is on the itinerary for this?
They're still working that up.
Couldn't tell you, I haven't seen it.
When is the trip?
I didn't even know he was going, John, until
When is it?
recently.
When is the trip?
Don't know that either, exactly.
Don't you guys have to approve this, or doesn't the money have to come?
Well, he'll put the bills on there for
Oh,
him.
he's already got, I see, yeah, well.
He's got the right to, look, he's got the right to spend within his budget for authorized items. Okay, then he's gonna have to put the travel down, and that'll have to go for approval, and we'll see that,
We don't need goodwill trips at this point.
He has to do a travel voucher, okay?
Yeah, okay, we don't need goodwill trips. We need jobs, and when he's over there, I hope he's being proactive about
Well, the
something.
previous trips were all designed around, Lords and GE. You know, in the days when they were selling locomotives and other equipment.
Yeah,
And usually when they went, they usually took delegations like the county exec, the city exec,
yeah,
members of council or whoever wanted to go.
yeah,
They could come up with the money or raise the money,
yeah,
or unless you were paid for by private industry.
yeah. But I mean, what is the purpose? What is the goal of going there?
I don't know, John. I mean, I found out the same way you did.
Yeah,
This is my gripe all, the mayor has these press conferences, but he doesn't talk to us about the exact purpose. It's like, I don't know, maybe he doesn't trust us.
no,
I mean, he wants to get two more big bosses down there in the lobby as you come in.
Well, I don't think it's a bad idea if he tells us what he's up to, okay? We've had, trade missions to Ireland, which were mainly, centered around Mercyhurst and the college kids and Gannon. When we had an educational, you know,
Well, that's because the kids wanted to go to Mercyhurst from Ireland.
well, but it was in some ways, we even got, when you look at the long-term benefits, we got a businessman that came out of that, John Melody, who's become a good investor, and,
that came out of one of those trips.
I think he was one of those students that came over to play
Came
soccer.
over. Okay, well then, okay.
I mean, that's the kind of things that you wanna
One.
do, but also, you know, we did have a Irish fish market for a while, which started here.
And it went under because they were too expensive for our area.
Well, Erie's like that, I mean, I can't help it, but they tried, you know.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, but you know, they want everything for a nickel dime.
But, you know, mostly when you have trade missions, you try to set up industry. That's why John's gonna get mad, but the trip to Poland, Germany, they needed an airport. And there were no airports in Poland and Germany, hardly at all, because after the communist occupation, they weren't worried about people moving around. They had military bases, so they didn't know what to do with these bases.
Well, we got
Hence,
stuck
you
for
know.
that airport expansion anyway, didn't we? The city taxpayer?
What's that?
Didn't we get stuck for some of that airport?
Well, you're, as county
It's mostly
residents, you
county.
did.
And you know the whole reason
Well, we're
why
county
they did that
residents, yeah.
because the FAA required it.
Well, they required so much of that
So much
place.
space for landing, right? So that was coming regardless.
it was part of the inland cargo thing, or wasn't that part of the
Yeah.
Well, they
develop Erie
needed,
thing?
they needed to bring in jets, they needed to extend the runway.
They wanted to bring in the big cargo ships, or the cargo, planes.
That's why they went longer.
That's why it went
But they
longer.
needed a minimal amount of
Oh, yeah.
runway, just to be able to get, jets in here.
You know, I talked to a guy, he used to be the president of Mercyhurst Northeast.
Yeah.
When I was doing the Perry 200 stuff. And he had brought companies into Findlay, New York, Findlay, Ohio.
Yeah.
And, what they do is they have a team of people. You have somebody from the education, the business.
Yeah.
They had a team of like 3 or 4 people that went over there and made, pitches I think they brought in a Toyota and some other company to Findlay, Ohio. And what they did was they have, you know, education, you know, they have a representative from each of those top areas, because that's what, you know, anybody that relocates to anywhere, any part of the world, they want to know what's going on here, what's going on.
Well, that's what we used to do, John, in our first, you know, when, Joyce and them went over
Okay,
and all that, they used to always take, the superintendent or,
yeah, that's the kind of thing you need to do, but you have to go there with a purpose. I mean, if you're going over there to do that, your economic development team has to, you know, grease the skids, so that when you roll in there, you close, you know, you pitch, you close. Not, let's go over there and start looking around going, oh my God, they don't have any
well, I hope they have a
runways
plan,
here.
because, you know,
We have an airport with no runways.
I was,
Oh,
well, no, I was in on the last one, and we did a lot of research, a lot of trips, but we couldn't close the deal because,
but that's not your job. It's economic development.
well, our problem was we could not get the runway going fast enough. They needed a runway. They had the goods that they wanted to ship, and we had everything set up, but we didn't have the runway. And they couldn't wait, you know.
Well, you know what? I like to see his itinerary and what he's going to be doing on the internet.
Well,
It should be.
if he does what
But I
we did,
doubt it.
I still have my itinerary from the Polish trip and the German trip, and anybody's welcome to look at it. I still have it.
So, anyway, how do we make out with the bar in Mercyhurst?
We're still working on that one, John.
Are you really?
Yeah, I gotta go up and check. I tried to check up with the solicitor, and he wasn't there in his office. I'm gonna make another trip up there.
I mean, what can we do?
Well, I wanna see if we can start taxing them.
How? They're on the, it's non-tax?
They're a for-profit business, and if you're for-profit, and even though you're in, like, I'll give you an example. It came up a few years ago when Hammett tried to go after, what was that one on State Street, John? The pharmacy.
Hiles.
Yeah, they started, opening up their pharmacy for business.
Okay,
And they said, no, you can't do that without paying taxes.
yeah,
Because, example is the coffee culture, coffee house.
yeah, right, up on the Lecom,
That's their property, but because they make a profit on one half of it,
yeah.
okay? You're not exempt if you make a profit, okay?
Is that how it works?
Yeah, if you're, even the hospitals, some of their property is taxable, not,
Yeah,
not Gannon and them, they play
yeah, right.
Again, and they're selling groceries and everything else in there. They're doing it in the gray area, and they're saying,
are they selling groceries in the place?
I believe they sell groceries and everything else down there.
I didn't know that. Where are they doing that, John?
In that one building where they have the apartments and all, I heard.
There you go.
So, one hand, whatever. So, okay, I'll get off the air. I just want to let you know I'm still alive.
Hey, John, call me after the show. I gotta talk to you about something.
Okay.
See you, John.
Yeah, see, when they start getting into private sector,
Yeah.
it's like us. We can't rent our garage out and take away business from people.
Yeah. Go ahead, Colin.
Hello, can you tell me how much of the city's deficit was carried over from the previous administration?
11 million.
How much is the deficit?
Yeah.
I'll get you an answer next show, okay?
Okay, whether it's a percentage, or did the financial officer from the previous administration know there was a deficit, or didn't he have any idea, or
That's a sticky,
and
that's a
not
sticky situation.
I will get you the answer, okay?
That's a tricky, sticky question.
okay? And if was any of the deficit caused by the present administration, or was most of it caused by the previous administration?
Well, what you hear about is you're hearing about that amount of money that was miscalculated.
By
You're thinking of that 900,000.
was that miscalculated by the previous administration?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Mayor didn't know about it, only the financial officer.
Well, when it came time for budget, wait a minute, see, that would have been, let me think now. That happened this year,
The 900,000 was from this year.
well, from last year, so that would have been,
That was less than 10% of the whole amount, the whole deficit.
let me think now, how long has this mayor been?
1 year.
Okay,
This is his first budget, right?
yeah, so that would have been the previous,
Yeah, it was from Sinners.
yeah, 900,000, that was what happened was somebody
Screwed up.
didn't calculate the numbers properly, what was to be transferred from one of our enterprise funds. And that's when council was informed at the end of the year that we were short a little bit.
Who actually caught that? Teresa?
The finance department,
Was it Teresa, or was it Teresa or the finance department?
combination of both.
Good, well, at least they,
When they redid their numbers, finance department and the controller's office caught it.
that's good.
But that's, the trouble was, probably should have been caught sooner.
You think?
Yeah, but, that's the,
Well, you know how that goes, but we're moved on beyond that right now.
yeah, but I will get you the answer, okay?
Good question.
The entire deficit is that in the millions?
We actually had we were not that much in the hole, just that 900,000, that No, I mean, that's bad enough. But, you know, we've had surpluses going into the following years where we didn't have to borrow. I'll get you the exact answer, so we're not talking,
The deficit isn't in the millions?
well, when you talk about deficit, are you talking about, like, we have, bond issues we gotta pay off, is that what you're talking?
We had $11 million deficit.
I'm not clear on that. I thought, I'm not sure.
When you calculate all the bond issues we got, and if you calculate the pension, you know.
Are bond issues coming due in the next?
Well, the bond issues, that's an obligation. And when you look at pension, that's an obligation, and the pension funds are under budgeted. I mean, they're in a mildly depressed situation. So that's, you know, that's, when you look at the city's debt, that's probably what you're referring to, is that we have obligations, we have bond issues, pension obligations, which long-term have to be paid off eventually.
How much in bonds are coming due in the next year?
I'll get you I'll bring the book with me next week. I'll bring you the actual budget book. And, you wanna know about bond issue?
That are coming due?
Yeah, I can tell you how much we pay every year when I look at it. And I'll tell you, you know, how far they're stretched out.
That should be in the budget, the bond payments.
Oh, it is in the budget. It's also in
It's
the,
on the website, yeah, you could look that up.
it's also in the CAFRA.
You're pretty
But I don't
sure
have
you're
either
gonna
book
be
right
on
here
next
with me.
week?
Pardon?
You're pretty sure you're going to be on live next week?
Is there a holiday? I think so.
March 4th, that would be, wouldn't it?
I don't think there's
It's National Cas Day.
is it? Hang on a minute. I don't know who this is.
Is that Drumline?
Yeah.
Cas's phone. March 4th, I do not see as, let me look here. Oh, it's clear. March 4th, we should be on the air, and then we go to daylight savings time on next Friday, Saturday. You still there, caller?
Yes.
Sorry about that.
I had messages. I gotta turn this
Cas,
down.
your phone's blowing up over here.
Too many messages coming in.
You're famously popular, what can you say?
So I'll get you the bond issue, the pension obligation, and I'll get it right out of the CAFR for you.
Okay, and you're pretty sure you'll be on next week?
Yeah, we should be.
Yeah, we should be, unless something happens.
You'll probably have no answers for you, but we'll be on.
No, you can call me, you can even call me, what do you mean? You can call me at home too, though.
Oh, you mean you have those numbers at home?
No, but I'll have the book with me.
Oh,
I have a copy of the book on me at all times, in my, not here though, in my traveling,
Well, that's not
kit.
all time.
I have a briefcase with all that stuff in there.
oh, okay, thank you.
Thanks for calling.
Yeah, and you can call me at home if you want.
Oh,
I'm in the phone book, you know.
Give him a call at the house.
okay, thanks a lot.
But you wanna know what kind of debt, I'll get you that answer.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys, have a good day.
Thanks
Okay.
for calling in. I'm giving Cas a hard time today.
No, you're okay, but there's when you look at, like pension debt, you know,
Yeah.
we are mildly underfunded, okay, in terms of the Commonwealth.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that means somewhere that has to be made up, you know.
Yeah. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, John,
Yeah.
I know you guys came on, but you came on loud, and then you had a buzz for a while. Whoever you got working the phone system got the buzz out of the background.
They're still working as we're,
Yeah, I
talking.
noticed that. We got the crew on, they're working on it right now.
Yeah. You know, as far as the mayor's trip to China, Kaz, you might want to see if he's going to look to get a whole coolie system coming in from China to work going up and down State Street, since we don't do the buses up and down there anymore.
What do you mean? You mean the rickshaws?
Got rickshaws. And,
You know, we
instead of to have a trolley-like system, we can have those going up and down. That'd be different.
well, we had them.
Yeah, we did for them, but we need to get them back.
Well, you know what happened? The bus company, no, it was, I think
Rickshaws. I like rickshaws.
we had them.
We did?
Yeah, there was two young men that
Really?
You ever see them in New York City?
I rode them.
I rode one
There
in,
was one tired Rick. I remember one time. I get a quick story.
I did one in Chicago.
One time, myself and another friend of mine who's a big guy, we had this little skinny kid rickshaw. I'll tell you, that bike, that chain and those wheels were squealing, but he got us where we needed to be.
Well, yeah, I did one in Chicago.
Yeah, I like them.
It went from one end of like Michigan Street to the
Yeah.
other.
Now
along
that
the
would
parks.
be. I'm surprised people don't do that for
What?
like Erie days. And
I
different
think
things
what
like
happened
that.
was I think it was the cab company filed a suit against them
Really?
because they weren't licensed.
Wow.
But we had them. I remember, God, it was.
Rickshaw.
I think it was
I
my
didn't even
first.
think of that, yeah.
I think it was one of my first couple of years when I was controller. I remember I saw these two young guys,
Yeah.
and they were going up and down State Street. You know.
Yeah, those are nice.
Yeah, Doc. It was. It happened.
That's a good idea, Doc.
And I remember that, Kaz. I remember. That's why I thought maybe the mayor's going back to see if he can bring something like that back for
But
downtown.
somebody filed a complaint against what the F. Who does that? Who's with the in Pennsylvania, PUC or somebody?
Maybe the labor board. Who knows?
That's the utility.
What I wanted to find out from John, can you see my phone number, the caller ID there?
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Write it down. I forgot my reading glasses.
ID?
It's Kaz.
I'm just gonna ask you. The last two numbers are 97, right?
Right.
Okay.
I'll write that number down. That's my brand new number. I got rid of the other numbers.
Okay. Okay.
Why? You want to go to China, Doc?
Oh, you know what? Maybe I go see what China making
Hey,
now.
hey,
You know, maybe some good
wait a minute.
stuff.
You can't do that on TV. No.
They got some good Chinese food there too.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, we can't make fun of people, you know, because some of my best friends,
For Chinese.
yes, I eat people over Jade Garden. They take care of me well.
Maybe we can
I'm
do
actually
that
learning
sometime.
Chinese, but it doesn't work out too well.
You know what I noticed about Chinese restaurants? I noticed this. I took my son to a Chinese restaurant last week, or no, a couple of weeks ago, and another friend of mine went there. You go to Italian restaurants, you see Italian people there. You go to a burger joint, you see American people there. I go to Chinese restaurants, I don't see one Chinese
Because
person
it's
eating
not
it.
Chinese food. You know what I learned?
If I don't see
My-
Chinese, I'm like, wait, do they know something?
My wife had
don't know.
my wife had a very good friend,
Yeah.
and that is not what they eat.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's American
Okay.
version. She taught my wife how to make a couple things, which I really loved, you know.
Yeah.
But it's real Chinese food.
Yeah, you go to the Mediterranean restaurant. Hey, there's some Mediterraneans.
Yeah,
Hey, there's the Italians.
because it's not a friend of mine, a real good friend of mine. We go to this other place around town,
Yeah.
and he makes us up special concoctions.
Yeah. It just.
You know, the real stuff, not the.
Oh, not the Americanized
Yeah.
Chinese restaurant. It's like I never see any Chinese people in a Chinese restaurant. It makes me nervous. It's like, do they
No,
know
they
something
just.
we don't know?
It's American concoctions that we.
Hey, I'm going to get off so somebody else can call, but Kaz, why don't you, John, and I get together sometime? You give me a call because I tried calling your number, can't go anywhere, and I don't have John's number to call.
All right. Yeah, we'll get together soon.
Call me and let me know when we can get together.
We'll have some coffee or something.
Yeah, coffee, donuts, or go out for some Chinese food. I think there's a Chinese place up in the plaza. There's a small plaza right across from what was the old where the Pizza Hut that was caught on the shooting took place.
Well, I always go to.
That's Jade. That's Kaz's.
That's my place. That's my hangout.
All right, we'll see what we do. All right, you guys
Sounds
take
good.
care. Have a good day, and don't let the wind blow you around.
Sounds good.
Hey, right on.
I love that Jade Garden.
Yeah, I like Jade. I like the Imperial too on Peach. That's good too. I just noticed that the other day. It's like.
Well, because a guy told me once, it's even like Italian food is not original.
Yeah,
A lot of it is.
But at least you see
American.
Italian people at the Italian
Well,
restaurant.
yeah, they do, but
Then you go to the burger joints. There's Americans.
when I went to Poland, I found out they didn't eat the stuff we thought we ate.
They don't eat kielbasa.
Not like
pierogi?
we think that's the only thing they eat.
Yeah.
You know,
They don't eat rice in China.
they're a little different though. Probably.
Billion Chinese people eating rice. Can't be wrong.
You should have been at at City Hall. We had an unofficial kimchi festival in the basement.
I don't know
That's Korean
but-
sauerkraut, that would,
What kind of festival?
kimchi.
I don't even know if I wanna go to the one.
Oh, you'd love it.
Go ahead, caller. Go ahead, caller. Going once,
Hello? Something's wrong.
going twice.
Hello?
Good afternoon. How you doing, gentlemen?
Pretty
Good.
good, how are you?
Okay, I have a quick question. I don't mind listening to the answers and opinions of John.
Yeah?
I appreciate the fact that he comes on the show. But the question I want to ask you, Kaz, is where are your colleagues? How come we never get any of the other council people on your show?
They have,
question.
they have been asked to come on, and, in the past, no one's accepted, so I have an open invitation if they wanna come on, as well as your members of administration. The last man that was on here from the administration was Fred Rush, and that was, probably 4 or 5 years ago.
Well, here's why they don't wanna come on here, cause they don't wanna come on live TV and like Kaz. You know, Kaz takes questions and he may not like the answers or whatever, but at least Kaz has the,
And I don't shield my calls on here, so.
and you're right, those other, you know,
I will send out an invitation to them again, but, you know, I've even asked certain department heads to come on and they have not,
well, maybe
acquiesced.
I can understand them, cause they gotta work, but.
I mean, it is Taxpayers Hotline, I understand, but you think these other officials would want to let their opinions be expressed once in a while, let us know what they're thinking of and why they vote certain ways. I give Kaz and John a lot of credit for going public with their opinions. I'd just like to hear from the other public officials once in a while.
Yeah, the reason why I have John on here and other people is, you get a little bored up here, and you start, talking about the same things, and
Yeah.
so, you know, John brings in a little perspective from a different viewpoint, and I've asked other people to come on the show, we've had some guests.
I remember one time, we've had, a councilman that was ready to come on the show. We invited him, we ran into him at, an event, remember that?
Yeah,
And I'm not gonna say who it is, but they were waiting to come on the show, and at the last minute, they didn't come on the show. I think that some of them don't want to, sit up here and ask questions that they may not know the answers to.
we had Councilman Anderson here, County
County
Councilman.
Councilman Carl Anderson comes on the show.
We had County Councilman.
Well, he's done a good job when he's been on the show. He's about the only one, I guess, that I can think of that comes on once in a while.
I think we even had, Councilman Horton one time.
Councilman, yeah, I brought Councilman Horton on there, and then they
Yeah.
blocked the show, remember that one?
Yeah, they weren't too
censored
happy,
us.
but
They censored us that day, cause we were talking about
they won't do it
issues.
again, though.
I bet, no.
I mean, it's kind of hard for elected officials to go around to the different churches and have public meetings and get questions from the different neighborhoods and all that. And this show would be an easy place for them to get the opinions of some of the taxpayers, and we could understand where they're coming from. I'm just kind of disappointed that they like to take their $6,000 a year, but they don't want to make a couple extra appearances on TV to give us their opinions.
Well, a lot of them don't think, and a lot of people watch the show.
A lot more watch it than I thought.
There's more people that, matter of fact, I ran into 2 people this past weekend that knew who I was and say, hey, John. You know, and then I talked to them, and it's like, yeah, we watch it, and I was like,
I've even invited citizens on here, you know, people that are active in their community.
yeah, you invited everybody.
Well, I don't want to take up too much time with what I've been talking about. I want to give other people a chance to call in, but I appreciate you two gentlemen being on most every week. So.
And I will send another request out, you know, see if anybody wants to come on.
Okay, I don't want you to beg, but if you just ask them, and if they keep turning us down and don't want to be on the show, well, maybe that might just give us a reason not to vote for them the next time.
There you go.
I need to go to the gym, so have some of your colleagues come.
Okay, so it was nice talking to you gentlemen. I'll give
Thanks.
somebody else a chance.
Thanks for
Thank
calling.
you. You and I work out the same gym, I heard.
We do?
Yeah, you're on, somebody told me I'm not on Facebook, but somebody told me you're on Facebook.
Yeah. I've been working out a lot.
You go to,
Planet,
yeah, me
Planet
too.
Fitness, yeah.
Harbor Creek?
No, I go to on the west side.
I thought you were in Harbor Creek.
I go to the one on the west side because I have like a buddy that trains me there, and I've been hitting the weights pretty hard. You know, this belly's gotta go.
Stop eating.
Go ahead, call her.
Hey, okay, I wanted to mention, John talked about the telephone line being cut into up there by Gore Road, right?
Yeah, he said they had a problem up there.
Gore and Route 8. They went through 3 main trunk lines, severing 7,500 lines.
That's not good.
Yeah, that's why I've been without my landline since January 30th. So that's why I went over to Spectrum to get connected to a landline for now. But yeah, it's a severe damage done by some utility company was digging there.
You know, I saw him up there. Yeah, you know, not you mention it. I saw that crew up there working on Route 8. It was on if I remember right, the east side of the road.
Right, it is on the east side.
It was down near the firehouse a little bit. Yeah, so they're the ones that cut it.
Well, they didn't cut in. No, a utility company was digging there and severed 3 main trunk lines.
Yeah, I mean, but they were up there. I saw them working the one day.
The 2 trunk lines carried 3,000 cable, 3,000 lines, and 1 carried 1,500. So 7,500 lines were severed there. So that's why it's taking so long for them to get those hooked up again. And yeah, it's quite a few people have been without getting what we call Verizon wire, Verizon landline service due to their severed cables there. And they're doing I guess you haven't realized they're doing a job. It takes quite a while to get even one set of lines hooked back up. It takes 2 guys to do each set of lines. Right. So I thought maybe let John know, yeah, they are working, but they've been doing, well, they started on January 30th with discovering where it was, and then from then on it was getting the cable to put back in and all that stuff.
But that makes sense, because I saw them when I go on Route 8 they've been working on that area.
Okay, well, I just wanted to mention it to you. I forgot to tell you that about when John said about that cable there. I've been keeping on track of them with the Verizon on it.
No problem.
Thanks for calling, Doc.
Take care.
Okay. Yeah, Kaz, I've been hitting up underneath the fluff. There's some muscle under there. Eat cake under.
You're kidding me. You're kidding.
I work out 3 times a week, 4 times always 3.
Can you run 4 laps around this block?
I couldn't. No. Listen, I mean, maybe.
Don't talk to me.
Maybe 1. I know I'm not as agile as you are. You're an Olympic sprinter.
No. I ran with an Olympic sprinter.
What?
I did.
What Olympic sprinter?
Charles Green.
Just made that. You're lucky I don't have my phone.
Look it up.
I don't have my phone. That's why you knew. Uh-oh, he's got.
Charles Green. I ran with him at Fort Lee, Virginia.
I'm gonna look it up too.
He was a captain in
I can't even unlock your phone.
He was a captain.
I believe you.
He was a captain in the U.S. Army at the time.
Was he?
Yeah. I didn't even know it. I was running with him, and somebody said, "You're running with Charles Green."
Was he fast?
I said, "Who's Charles Green?"
Yeah.
That's just a regular name, right? He said, "The Charles Green."
Chucky.
Rome Olympics. I said, "Oh, that Charles Green."
Oh, Chuck. They call him Chuck.
No, I tried to run past him, and he laughed, and he knew what I was up to.
Yeah.
He was a sprinter, though. I was a miler. That was a difference.
Yeah.
If we'd have run head to head for 100,
We're most.
I'd have been at the starting gate.
No, we're long distance guys.
I'd have been at the starting gate with him.
Yeah, whenever you watch the Olympics, you see us guys. We're in the long distance.
It's one of those things that back then they weren't as well known as they are today.
The runners, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean he was in the U.S. Army,
Yeah.
and
But
he was probably when I went in it was 1971.
yeah.
So I think he was retired, but he was still working out. We had a track there. We used to run.
1971. I was 3 years old then. I was young. I couldn't. I do a little bit of elliptical and stuff, and I do some of the treadmill, a lot of walking and stuff. I'm out of shape and just trying to lift weights. I'm actually doing pretty good for me. I mean, I go a lot, at least for sure 3-4 times.
See, we didn't have all this stuff when I was growing up. All these.
No, I'm telling you, the YMCA's. That's why I keep saying the YMCA's in trouble. I'm telling you, It's just a matter of, I mean, if they didn't have daycare and a swimming pool, they'd have been gone. But I'll tell you right now, don't be, I'd be surprised if the 10th Street Y on State Street is here in 10 years.
Really?
Yep. Cause it's right in the innovative, well, I don't know, maybe it might stay there, cause they want it there. But that would be something, a building where, cause there were some other talks before
What's interesting is
about putting something in that building that I knew about, but it never came to fruition, cause,
what's interesting is gonna be, you know, the shape downtown takes in the next few years.
well, you know, behind the scenes, they were talking about the community college going in that building,
But,
the Y building. Yep, but not too many people knew that, and,
well, I mean, there's always plans underneath plans, and,
yeah,
you know, as long as they meet, the criteria, we don't, like council, we don't have to rule on them all the time.
right.
Unless they change their purpose, you know.
Well, you know, like business, you know, now that we finally have the, you know, the group down here doing business and stuff, and, you know, so, like, you know, it's not your job to get involved in business, it's government's job.
Well, the only time they need us is when they do rezonings.
They need zonings, and they might need the LERTA, and they might need,
Like, we had a meeting with Erie Insurance once, and they gave us a rough overview of what, many years ago, what they were doing,
right,
just so we were prepared, you know.
right,
And I don't think, I think it was good because we knew where they were going, you know.
yeah,
But I remember I was pressured by the Times when I ran for election. They wanted to know the specifics, and I go, no, I'm not telling you that.
no. Well, you don't wanna get into, no one wants to get into specifics of what might be,
Well,
because then they
no.
look bad when it doesn't be.
Well, not only that, there's sensitivities involved.
Right, and then you don't want to let the cat out of the bag, because then business competitors, and you always got your haters out there.
And then you gotta deal with the neighborhoods too, as you start to, you know. But
Right, you get
I think, you know, overall, there will be changes downtown, that's inevitable.
Absolutely, we've talked about a lot of them here. I think the Richford Arms, it's a matter of time.
People look at the downtown and they want all this stuff, but, you know, to do it, like they did in other towns,
In order to have market rate housing, you look at any city that I've ever been to, like, you know, Boston and New York, and, you know, Washington too, but not so much, but especially New York.
yeah.
You gotta have it on a park.
Or what?
On a park. When people live in the city, they want, like Central Park in New York, all the housing that goes on around Central Park.
Or you gotta have a waterfront,
That was my next statement.
because, you know, if you look at, you know, the logical place is Perry Square.
Yeah, around here, I mean, honestly, I wish they kinda would've kept the library over there. But I do like where the Niagara is, but I do like where the library's at, but that's taxable property.
What is?
The library, you know, where it sits right now down on the bayfront, that's some real prime real estate to be non-taxable. If it was over here, it coincides with what else we're doing here.
The trouble was back then when they studied that, okay?
Yeah,
And I was on the school board,
okay,
alright? The county leased the building from us, I believe, the library,
oh, really?
yeah. And, cause we get out of the library business, the school district. You know, it was apparent that it should have been a county function,
Yeah,
because they wanted to spread their wings,
you know,
you know, with the branches, right?
yeah,
And at one time, when the government approached us, that building was in need of repair. We didn't have the money.
oh, it was, yeah, cause it was, I remember that, yeah.
And they were the only ones,
The state, or the
no,
feds, the feds, yeah.
and Mr. Braybender, who was our president at the time on the board, Billy, he come up to me and he wanted me to second the resolution to have the government, federal government study taking it over.
I don't understand, what is the purpose of it?
What do you mean?
What goes on inside there anymore?
In the federal government?
No, I know that, no,
No.
the building, they build the building aspect
I mean, of that federal government building?
of where the library used to be, what goes on in there?
Oh, those are, I toured it.
What's in there?
There's
offices?
The judges have offices in there,
Oh, so in other words,
and it's integrated with the courthouse, okay? And they have other federal offices in there,
yeah,
but what they did was, I don't know if I should say who's where,
yeah, no,
but, they have, some of the old library is either offices
yeah,
or chambers for certain judges. And then when you integrate into the new building,
yeah,
they have the federal courts in there, you know, the courthouses. And they're all upgraded, they're, ADA compliant,
yeah.
they're really a work of art, I mean.
Yeah, I wish that they would've just kept the library where it was,
But you know what, John, if you tour it, and it is open at different times,
yeah.
you know, when
So
they,
is it?
well, when they have events there, like, you know, swearing in or something, when you go in there, they did something we could never do. They reopened the skylights, they went down and chipped all the paint till they got down to what the first layer looked like.
Oh, really?
We didn't have that kind of money. They brought the doors up in the fireplaces
Yeah,
that were in the basement. They put all the, you know, the various decorative things
here,
on it.
we just have a bad habit of putting non-taxable entities on our most taxable.
Well, it was always
properties.
non-taxable anyway.
Yeah, but I'm talking, well, they kept, okay, but down there, I mean, you have the library, but I do like the,
There again, we had the
flagship.
argument. We were gonna put it in the Boston store.
Yeah,
We were gonna put it in,
the Boston store would've been nice too,
the old Sears building, which then became the ballpark.
yeah.
Then we were gonna put it in the Central Mall,
Don't get me wrong, it is nice down there.
then the Central Mall, but what happened? We decided to put it down by, don't ask me who,
The biggest jokes,
the county did that.
yeah, well, the biggest jokes done on the Bayfront to me are the bus company and the building on the end.
Now,
Those are the biggest waste of space I think I've ever seen. I mean, seriously, you have a boat terminal, we didn't have any boats. We have a bus terminal, which, I mean, nothing mean, but only broke people ride the bus. You know what I'm saying? We could have apartments and that would flow right into.
I would've rather built a ballpark down there,
Oh, that would've been sweet, right on the edge here,
because that would've
on the
brought,
parking lot.
that would've brought some,
Oh, man, that would've been
I think
nice.
that would've brought some, what do you call it, you know, some,
Economic development down there. You could
would've
have
brought some restaurants and bars.
Absolutely.
After the game, you know.
But, you know, that would take something that we've really rarely had in this city.
Well,
Vision.
they thought it was gonna happen up here, and it never did.
Let's have vision, oh.
You know, it never happened up here where they put it.
That parking lot, right down there by where the bus company is, be perfect place for a stadium. And you could look down from the bluffs down to the stadium. But, you know,
I
they
mean,
want it
up
up here just so they could support these bars up here.
Wait, but you know what? Nothing new came.
Well, they don't,
Nothing new came.
we had to jump on the money.
They told us one time that, you know, it was gonna bring all this new bars and all that,
Oh, no,
restaurants.
it didn't.
Nothing happened.
No, no.
They had a concourse along the side, remember? Going parallel to
Okay,
French
yeah.
Street,
Yeah.
that walkway,
Yeah.
nothing happened there.
They got the same restaurants that have been there the whole,
If you were out of town, that walkway along French Street, that going from left field to home plate,
yeah,
that would be lined with businesses
yeah.
in any other town.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Like, but if they had it down on the Bayfront, could have revitalized that whole area down there,
Yeah, I
I think.
think
I
so.
think it would have added into what they're trying to do now, for sure. But to have a bus company,
Well,
well, you could thank Tom Ridge for that.
the problem with the baseball park was,
I mean, Tom
we
Ridge,
needed matching funds, even with Tom Ridge,
yeah,
and the only ones that could give the matching funds
yeah,
was the parking authority. Did you know that? So this is what people don't know about the parking authority. To tear out the Transitway Mall, okay,
yeah,
that mistake on State Street,
yeah,
they paid for it. Okay,
okay,
to matching funds, they built the parking ramp behind the Renaissance building. You know, the one where Cloud 9 is and
Yeah.
everything. That was to provide parking for the ballpark. And
yeah,
the state accepted that as matching funds.
uh-huh,
They did another thing way back, I can't remember what it was, so over the years, they've done three things. and we've had to give them, you know, Saturday parking and everything to pay for it. But we didn't have the money. The problem was, we would've had to come up with matching funds, I think, in the Bayfront.
Yeah, that would've been nice to have that stadium.
It would've been, but, you know.
Right on the water down there, but the only bad thing about that is you can see holes.
Yeah, but let me ask you a question, John.
Yeah,
I've been to a lot of ballparks,
yeah, so have I.
many of them.
Yeah,
I've been to a lot of them down by the waterfront.
yeah.
I've never been dumped on by a seagull. Why is it we get dumped on? What do we, I mean,
We have a lot of seagulls.
I don't know, but I mean, you don't think San Francisco does?
Well, I'm sure they do.
It's on the waterfront.
Oh, yeah,
Cleveland football stadium?
Yeah.
Where's that?
on the waterfront,
The old baseball stadium?
waterfront. PNC,
PNC in Pittsburgh?
yeah. Heinz,
Have you ever been hit by any?
no.
What is it about Erie? Then, like, we built that tower down by the waterfront,
Yeah,
they couldn't put glass in there because the birds would hit it.
yeah.
So I did a little survey when I was in Chicago, and I walked around the base of what we used to call the Sears building, the Willis
Sears
Tower
Tower.
now.
Sears Tower.
Willis Tower now is
What's it
official.
called?
Willis.
Willis?
Tower, yeah. You know what? I didn't see any birds on the ground.
No,
Do we have dumb birds or what?
yeah, we do.
Do our seagulls? I mean, they come up with this stuff
Fly
about.
straight. They don't fly
It's like
right.
we couldn't even have fountains on State Street because the water sprays on people. Yet I went to Pittsburgh and they got this giant fountain at Point Park. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Where the confluence of the rivers come?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Huge fountain,
Oh,
right?
okay, yeah.
I didn't get sprayed. And if I did, it was because maybe it was the wind was blowing.
Kinda like, in Chicago, down at Grant Park.
Yeah.
You know where the, like the, what was the TV show with,
Oh, Married with Children?
Married with Children, yeah, that's in
Yeah.
Chicago.
I mean, if you
yeah.
go down there when it's windy, you know,
It's beautiful.
but we stop everything in this town.
People,
We
I've
get,
lived here a
yeah.
long time. I grew up right next on the Bayfront. I watched it go from the grain elevators, a dirt road.
Yeah.
The bluffs were known as the dumps. People would dump their stuff. I've watched it turn into what it is now my entire life. And even as a young guy, I was like, I mean, why would we do that? I mean, why would you put a bus company right there? I mean, that's waterfront property.
I remember the topic back then, and it was crazy.
It was, Tom Ridge, and Joyce brought in revenue for it. I mean, we had money to do it. At the time, the bus terminal and at that time it was more of an industrial area. It wasn't a residential and commercial. It was more industrial because you had the Litton properties right there. And that's now Don John, which is good.
Yeah.
But you didn't have the library, and you had Penelec. I mean, so that was viewed as a industrial area. So it would have took vision to understand. But when Tom Ridge was in office, we had to find,
Look
he brought money here.
Look
So,
back at the old Rotoval report. Get one of those.
Is that what it says to do?
Go ahead, caller.
Are your TV guys working on the volume? I noticed my
Yeah.
volume is way down.
They are working on stuff.
Yeah,
saw.
they probably still are back there.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Good day.
Yeah, the Rotoval report was done before the
What is that?
Buki report. And if you look at, the Times News had a big magazine that came out, I can't remember what year it was, 125th or, part of the Rotoval report was in there. And it showed the areas of the city, how they viewed it, the waterfront.
Yeah.
And at one time they viewed like the convention center should have been on top of the hill, looking down.
Yeah.
And they looked at various parts. I think the east waterfront, they wanted to keep business, but the west waterfront, they wanted to keep it, commercial and other stuff. So there was, even back then, and this was back into the, I think 50s or 60s when they did this one. But there's always been discussion.
I got a quick question.
Yeah.
They're talking about a Trader Joe's going down on the east slip.
I never heard that one. Who said?
I can't remember where I heard it, the exact, but what exactly is a Trader Joe's?
It's a grocery store, I think.
It is?
Yeah. It's thought I was in one. I think it's a grocery store. Maybe one of our
grocery
colors can.
No.
Well, it's a little different. It's very highly sought.
It is? Well, 'cause
Yeah.
they're tearing down the McAllister building, they're tearing it down.
Oh, and that part.
Yeah.
If they put a Trader Joe in there, that is a boom.
Really?
Yeah, because they are, a lot of people wanna see one. They don't come to
There's no
every town in
parking.
America.
There's no parking. A supermarket? It is.
I think,
If somebody knows what a Trader Joe's
Yeah.
is, give us a call.
but, from what I understand, they're a hot item.
Really?
Yeah. It's kinda like, it's not as like IKEA, IKEA doesn't come in every town.
Oh, one of those.
Either is Trader Joe's.
That was the one.
Here we go, this part of our answer.
Hopefully somebody knows the answer. You know the answer?
Hello?
Go ahead, caller.
Hey, how you doing? Hey, Kaz.
Yeah,
My rental inspection the other day. You know what's going on with that? They checked my smoke detectors and they worked,
yeah.
but then he told me that I had to replace them because they were over 10 years old.
No, I don't know anything, you know what, I wish,
I don't know how he knew that they were 10 years old. 'Cause they actually worked.
I should call upstairs and check with him.
Yeah, I checked with a couple things in the property maintenance code, and there's nothing there other than having working smoke detectors.
Yeah, so where do he didn't pull them down either, huh?
No, he used his little stick and he checked them, and they worked upstairs, downstairs, and he said, well, you have to replace those. I said, well, what do you mean? They're working. So, well, they're older than 10 years old, so the code says that you have to replace them.
What code was that?
Well, that's what I'm wondering.
Huh.
Another one is, I got written up for a little box on the front porch of one of my rentals, an empty cardboard box.
And yet we got couches all over the city.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I don't know what code enforcement is doing if BIU is doing their job looking at empty boxes on porches.
I'm gonna give him a call, I'm gonna call BIU and see what they're using for their criteria.
Yeah, I don't know if Zimmerman has anything to do with that upstairs or not, but it seems like he's the liaison, so.
Every time I talk with that office, they give me the runaround, and it seems like the rules change for different people.
Yeah, so it seems, I've got houses falling down around me, half a block away that are rental properties.
It's like, how they enforce the weed ordinance, it's, one guy has 2 inches and he gets cited, another guy has 8 feet, nothing happens.
Well, yeah, that's gonna be another problem coming up down the road, but yeah, if you can't check that out for me, like I said, now I gotta go buy smoke detectors when I have them that are working.
Doesn't sound right.
Yeah. All right, well, I'll let you go. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Check into that for me.
No problem.
Thanks.
It says right here we have a Trader Joe's already in Erie,
Where?
West Erie Plaza. See, right here today, see this? They have one in Cleveland,
Yeah.
and there's Erie, and there's Buffalo, and then you scroll down right there, West Erie Plaza. But
Trader Joe's?
yeah, I work, that's where Planet Fitness is. I don't see a Trader. I'm gonna have to double check, but maybe they are coming here.
I didn't think we had a Trader Joe's.
I didn't either. It doesn't even, but it says there's Trader, they have the West Erie, it doesn't say Trader Joe's, but it's under the Trader Joe's. So what's that? There is something coming here, and they haven't officially announced it yet. Interesting,
Yeah,
interesting, cause see right there, if you click, yeah, they have it right there, the West Erie site, they have directions and everything. Is that the inside?
no, that's the plaza, but
Where's it next to? I'm gonna look today. When I leave here, we'll know.
they may be thinking about building one.
Yeah, I thought they were talking about building one down in the waterfront, cause they have one in Cleveland, they have one in Buffalo.
What, Trader Joe's?
Yeah. 1 minute, Cleveland, they have one in Cleveland, one in Buffalo, and yeah, why not put one right in the middle? Right? Apparently they're expanding in the Great Lakes region.
Let's see what
they're like a Whole Foods co-op type
Yeah, but
grocery, which is kind of like right in the scope of what we've been looking for.
maybe I'm thinking of a different place, but I thought Trader Joe's was an exclusive one. I got to ask somebody I know about this.
Yeah, I mean,
That they were telling me, I thought it was Trader Joe's. That was,
I'm gonna look. Matter of fact, I mean, I'm going to the Western Plaza when I leave here.
it would be like the rumor that we were gonna get, Cabela's or one of them, remember?
Yeah, but don't you have to pay them some kind of?
Well, no, what happened to them was they were kept out because of, I think it was,
Golden Stream,
no, Dick's up there.
Dick's,
Yeah, Dick's had, they were tied in with, what's the one that's up there now? Golden Stream?
yeah,
Yeah, that's their baby.
yeah.
So they said if, you know,
Put the sports store right out of business.
well, they said if you put like Cabela's in or whatever the other one was gonna be, or Bass or whatever that one was coming,
Oh, Bash Pro.
they would leave.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I mean, you know, then that was the rumor, but
It's getting crazy up there. They have a giant eagle up there now. Did you know that? I mean, they have a giant up by, you know, where you go to O'Charlie's and.
yeah, I've been to that giant eagle.
Is there a lot of people there or is it crowded? I mean, I saw like 6 cars there. I'm like,
Well, when I go, it's usually late at night, so I don't see too many. I don't know what it is.
this was
during
like,
the day.
I wasn't too.
We only go there like if we're up in, you know, movie place or
Yeah,
we're in a hurry.
yeah, right. Well, Kaz, we are probably out of time. We're probably off the air, but,
Yeah, probably. So see you next week, John?
yeah, I'm gonna look into that Trader Joe's thing.
Yeah, I gotta find out more about that. That's,
I mean, they're tearing down I wish they would've kept some of the McAllister building there, like the front on State Street where they had that
yeah.
concave and just blend it in with new development.
If they do something like that down there, they're gonna have to come up with parking.
Yeah,
And,
well, they got the ramp.
well, yeah, but that ramp is,
Is it-
I don't know how that ramp is.
what is the
That ramp
occupancy?
belongs to the Sheraton though.
I heard there's big changes going on over at the parking authority,
What do you mean?
the board.
Oh, yeah, that's been in the news.
Yeah, I know.
But the Sheraton owns that parking ramp. That's not a public one.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Oh, the parking authority has nothing to do with that?
So, I mean, if you're talking about parking down there, you're gonna have to come up with a,
Well, anything that goes down there needs to tie in with what Nick Scott and, you know, your events are going, you know.
yeah. I mean, if Nick's gonna he's got a bridge plan going across one channel. But I don't know if
Really?
if you go over by where Rum Runners is, so
Yeah,
he's got a bridge plan that's cause he's gonna put houses going down towards that, boat terminal, the one in the back with the curvy roof.
oh, really?
Yeah, where there's some dirt piled there now. Have
Right
you
on
seen
the
it?
edge where the old grain elevators.
Well, you seen where the dirt is piled, right?
I did not notice that.
That's where, if he,
Right on the edge of the pier?
well, if he completes his project,
That's where it should be.
I'll
Faces sunset every day.
I'll show you the
We
drawings.
talked about that.
You need to take a look in there, they got the drawings.
Oh, do they? We've talked about that for years on this show. That's where you need to, because it faces west, it faces right into that's a
Well,
$1 million view.
he's got, houses planned on the north end of his property, and on the part that starts going back to the boat terminal, facing west though.
Facing west. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. We talked about that on this show a lot of times.
And
That's
so
where
he
you
has,
want to put it.
he has a bridge plan that would go to Rum Runners.
Okay, you wouldn't have to walk State Street, you could walk from that property to Ridge Run.
Yeah. To the old Rum Runners,
Yeah,
You know,
it's still Rum Runners.
yeah,
I think that would be great.
but that's, you know,
That's what we need.
yeah, but there's no guarantee he's gonna complete the project.
No, he'll get it done, because that's a moneymaker.
But if he does, it's gonna be one heck of,
Let's see, buy a townhouse with a view of the beautiful bay or sunset.
yeah.
Or Arby's. Oh, okay.
Well, we better get off.
Yeah, we
right?
better get out of here. It's been a fun day.
Hit that music, Mike.
Mike, tunes, not at volume 10, please.
Oh, you're asking about that? That's been there since, as long as I can remember. Why?
This has been Taxpayer Hotline with your host, Kaz Patowski and John Steiner. Thanks for watching.